والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وآله. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to meet once again in His house, في بيت من بيوت الله, and to increase our knowledge and to increase our iman and to become closer as community, as brothers and sisters. And we have a coach and a sheikh and a guide today with us, Sheikh Asim al-Hakim. He just did an hour with the youth and it was beautiful. And now we have the parents as well. And some of the youth have also had questions to ask. So inshallah we'll give priority to elders and then to the youth inshallah. Sheikh, it's your one. So then if you want to say something or we start ala tool. Bismillah. Okay, this is a question which I received yesterday from Jumu'ah. So I'll start with it. What is proper age of a person or a boy to get married? Interesting question. What are the characteristics he should look into his bride? Means if someone looking for 10 things in a girl and getting 4 or 5 things, 4 or 5 or 6 things as he wants, no one is perfect in all aspects except Allah. That's the first question. Second part, as we should say, if a man gets married after his death, his first wife, and leaving property for his children, is the child born with the second wife also gets a share in his property?
What is the ruling on drinking with your left hand?
Some of you are drinking with their left hand.
What is the ruling on drinking with the left hand? Is it permissible? Haram or
act of shaitan. Act of shaitan.
It is prohibited. The Prophet said, when you eat with your right hand, and when you drink with your right hand, and when you give with your right hand, and when you take with your right hand, because shaitan eats and drinks, gives and takes with his left. So you have to be aware when you drink. I'm talking about the youngsters in the front row, because you are negligent, you don't intend to do it with your left. But sometimes we forget. So when you forget, you need your brother to tell you and remind you. So always make this a habit. Your left hand never goes to your mouth, ever. Imagine you don't have it, and always use your right hand in drinking anything. I said this so I would dodge the question and move on to the second question. The question that the brother has posted requires a lecture. And I did this workshop in Chennai, India, and it was called Half D, HD. High definition, but it's half D. And they call it, I think it's on my YouTube. It's about 16 hours workshop on how to select the spouse, husband or wife, why marriages are not happening, why are they difficult, what are the conditions, what are to be required, how to sustain a happy life, what to avoid. And it's interesting. Since I enjoyed it a lot, alhamdulillah. But to answer in a nutshell, marriage requires a number of conditions for a boy or a girl to be married. Scholars have differed. Some required attaining the age of puberty, and some said no, even minors can get married. But nowadays it's not practical. Maybe in the past it was accepted especially when there was a potential that one was so afraid that it will go away. So I want this boy or this girl to be for my boy or for my girl, and I'm afraid that if I don't make an early reservation that this would not materialize. But people change, and conditions change, and the consent of both boy and girl is required. You cannot marry someone who's 1 year old and say, "Khalas, you're married." Her consent is, or his consent is essential. It's a long topic. This is not the right time to discuss it. But a boy, when he is old enough, when he has reached the age of puberty and he can assume responsibility, then he may get married, and it differs from one person to the other. Sometimes a person who is, a boy who is 22 years of age is irresponsible and should not be married. And sometimes he can be as young as 15 and get married and lead a happy and successful marriage. So it differs from one person to the other. What's the other question?
The other question, if a man gets, of course we talked about the age and the characteristics.
Characteristics are mentioned in the hadith, but you have to expand a little bit more. The Prophet says in the characteristics of a potential boy, whoever comes to you and you are accepting his religious commitment and his moral conduct, then you should give him in marriage. And for the girl, the Prophet said, a woman is married for her lineage, for her wealth, for her beauty. So get married to the one with religious commitment, otherwise your hands will be dusted. And there are so many other factors, but this is the main thing that comes to mind.
Right. He says if a man gets married and after his death, he's married to 2 wives, and his property, his wealth, goes to his children, and then the second child from his, the child from his second wife. Yeah? Does he get also a share in the property?
This is not logical. If a man has children from 1, 2, 3, or 4 wives, they are all his children, so they get the property. But maybe the question was, a man married a woman and he has children from her. Then he married a second woman who has children from a different husband. So they are his stepchildren, not his real children. They are the children of his second wife, his new wife. And he dies. Do these stepchildren inherit him? Definitely not. But if their mother dies and she had a share in her husband's property, they would inherit her share, not the man himself. So I hope this makes sense to you. It's very easy, but you're confusing yourself with saying, kill them all and then we will think, inshallah, in the future what happens. This is a joke, don't kill anybody. People get this on tape and say, oh, Sheikh Asim, Wahhabi fanatic, he's killing people. This is a joke. Like Sheikh Munajjid, when he said, will ask about mice in Islam, he said mice is haram, and so Mickey Mouse, we should kill him. And they made a problem out of that. Oh, Sheikh is talking about killing Mickey Mouse.
Can I request all the boys to give up their work? Those who are bottom, please bring them on the back. Once you finish, you can come back home, please. Otherwise... Okay, we have here a question by a mother. What is best to persuade the child not to go astray from our religion? Apart from dua, of course, they seem to have a strong mind of their own.
See, there are things that we can compromise. There are things that are permissible for them to take their own choices. They don't want to eat vegetables. It's up to them. I'm not going to shove it up down their throats. They don't want to wear certain clothes that they don't feel comfortable with. and they would like a different choice, this is their choice. They don't want to go with us to places, or they have their own choices. But there is a red line that we cannot tolerate. So we cannot, as parents, tolerate them doing haram, watching haram, listening to haram, speaking haram, being disrespectful, using bad words, associating with bad company that is beyond doubt that they are bad influence to them. We have to draw the line. But we must not put them in confinement and a prison. Everything that has to go through me. Simon says, you have to eat your apple. Simon says, you have to go to bed at this time. You have to wake at this time. You have to exercise. No, this is a prison. So we have a saying in Arabic, إِذَا أَرَدْتَ أَن تُطَاعَ فَاطْلُبْ أَوْ فَاسْأَلْ الْمُسْتَطَاعَ. If you want to be obeyed, ask for what can be implemented, can be done. If I ask my child to fly, he won't be able to do, then I will say he's disobedient. But at the same time, I must not open the door, the Pandora box for my child and then expect miracles and that he becomes a hafiz of the Quran and a righteous person. Yani with all due respect, our children, we spoil them when we give them these stupid devices. They call them smartphones. It has nothing to do with smart. It is retard. It is something that takes them straight to hell. Children, even if they go to high school, they must not have these devices. There is nothing more effective than a Nokia. Call and hang up. That's it. But when you give them YouTube, when you give them FaceHelp or Facebook, when you give them Twitter, and they spend their time like idol worshippers. All our children now are walking like this. Even in normal cases, their legs are like this. I would suspect in 10 years' time, even the newborn will evolve, like the Darwin theory, into being this. This is wrong. When you give them iPads, when you give them free access to the internet, they will watch Tom and Jerry. You know what they watch. So you have to live an Islamic life. If you, in your home, have OSN, and you watch movies and you watch video clips, and then you tell him, Yalla, we have the Saturday halaqa. What happened? He comes here, then goes back into his sinful life, into his free mixing. Mom sits with brothers-in-laws and uncles that are not related to her. Father sits with strange women and chit-chats with co-workers and have business dinners. And then you want an Islamic environment and you want your child not to go astray. Are you crazy? You are planning for him to go astray. So you don't have a choice. Either you go 100% Islamic or expect the unexpected. It cannot be in between. And this is why Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu dukhulu fi silm kafa. Embrace and enter into Islam wholeheartedly. Don't be selective. I like beards and long beards because when I go into a government office, they say, oh Sheikh, come please. They give me preference in the row because I have a long beard. I'm mutawwar. But I don't select to be good with my wife or with my children because it doesn't pay off. I have to be rude, I have to be this and that. So, in a nutshell, you have to live the real Islamic life, make a lot of dua, give example by you being a role model, and inshallah things will happen to the best of Allah.
The question following, since you mentioned Mickey Mouse, what is the ruling of cartoons and poems in Islam, especially when we see that it involves background music? Can we send our children to playgroups So the first one is viewing cartoons and poems with background music.
Okay, poems with anything with background music is haram. So if you watch a cartoon that has good content, good messages, Islamic messages, and you mute the music, no problem. There's no problem watching something that has good content, even if it was animated. So one says, Finding Nemo. It's a fish. Is there any free mixing in it? I don't know. I don't think so. There's no, the music, yes, there is music. So turn the music off and watch the movie, no problem. But if it has bad content, mixing between boys and girls, love affairs, and the music is 24/7, you cannot hear it. You cannot not hear it. You have to, this is how. Poems, it's the same thing. Poems, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said, it depends on the lyrics. If it's good, then it's good. If it's bad, then it's bad. Music is totally prohibited in the background, in the front ground, in the backyard. It's totally prohibited, even if it is accompanied by Quran. And I've seen this. People reciting Quran with a symphony. Symphony, playing music, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزِلَتْ, and the music is playing behind them. In some weird countries. What is this? This is kufr. Making fun of Allah's, but they think that this is halal. Out of ignorance, they're ruling to Allah. Third question was about?
Can we send our children to playgroup?
What is playgroup?
It's not nursery.
Okay. If the nurseries or the kindergartens are halal, it's halal. It's a free mix. The children, they can free mix, no problem. But the problem is that if they feed them pork, as in the UK or Europe or America, they have lunch and meals, they feed them pork. This is not permissible. If they have music 24/7, all the time they play and dance, and this is not permissible. If they celebrate Christmas and they give gifts to the children on Christmas, this is not permissible. So we have to look at the whole situation and see the details. And if it's halal, there is no problem with that at all.
I have another little question, but I think I need to take some. Is there anybody has a question? You can. Okay, give him the mic. From here.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question on the concept of passive income. Passive income is the work that you apply to whatever you're doing is small in proportion to the money that you earn. I'll give you an example. You have an apartment for rent. You recover your original investment, and then anything you get after that is your profit. So that's one example of passive income. Another one would be a franchise. So you get royalty from the business by people using your name. A third one, which is a little bit more controversial as far as I'm concerned, is where you have something like a pyramid scheme. So you have a business that pays you commission or a referral commission based on the products and services that another company is offering. So this commission is being earned from you as an individual and to somebody else. So at the end of the day, the man on top, or the person sitting on top of the organization, gets a share of a commission where he's not working, but the people below him are working. So that's another example of passive income. So if you can just shed some light on the concept of passive income related to these three examples.
I have no knowledge of this passive income in my life. But to answer your questions my voice sounds nice. Why?
Because it's different.
Okay. MashaAllah. So to answer your first example, you bought a property You paid for the property and now you're getting rent. This is not passive income, this is income. There's nothing as passive in Islam. So these new terminologies do not relate to Islam. You look at each case by case and give the verdict. Renting, there's a big chapter of fiqh called ijara. Whether it's physical personal renting, meaning I'm renting myself to do service for you, or I'm renting property, vehicles, etc. So this is nothing passive, this is halal. You're renting your property. Second example was what? Franchising. I have a brand name, and this is a recent issue given to the community, and scholars looked in it. Brands have a value, and this is why the most valuable and expensive brand in the world is Apple. So we know that Apple has a brand name. Even if they do not sell their property, their merchandise, they just sell the brand itself, it costs billions. So brands do have a value. You have the right to not be violated through people taking your brand without your permission. You have the right to franchise, and this is also falling under the category of renting. Now, pyramid scheme is a different issue altogether, because the essence of the business of multi-layer marketing or pyramid schemes, Ponzi schemes, is, and the scholars have said that this is haram. Why? They say that the origin of the business is not on selling and buying. It is on getting commission. So the bottom layer of the pyramid, we have a gazillion people. And they are all interested so that they can have another layer underneath them giving them money. And those give money to those on the top, and the top, and the top, and the top. All pyramid scheme companies such as Gold Quest, Business, and they have gazillion names. They come to you and say, listen, we have a product, and this product's actual value in the market is 1 riyal, 100 fils. And we will sell it to you for 4 Kuwaiti dinars. But when you buy it, you're entitled to market it. And if you market it to 2, we will give you a percentage. Of course, you will market it to 2 who will buy it for 4 KDs, and will market it to other 2. So the company, in essence, are making money of haram. It's a Ponzi scheme. I got a person coming to me to explain and convince me that it is halal. And he's wasted so much of my time, and I tried to be, polite and gentle. After that, I had to take off my gloves. I said, listen, what did you buy? He said, I bought a golden pen. And he said, how much you paid? He said, I paid 1,800 riyals, 1,800 riyals for it. And it's one of a kind. There is only 100 pens like it in the world. I said, MashaAllah. Between you and me, did you take it to the jeweler's shop? And the guy looked at the floor and said, yes. And I said, how much did the jeweler told you that it is worth? He said 150 riyals. The gold in it does not even mount to 10%. So actually they're selling you nothing. No, we have software. We will sell you a bundle of software and programs, and they have so many schemes. It is haram and it's prohibited. So the passive income, I don't have knowledge of it, but we look at each and every scenario and judge accordingly. I hope this answers your question.
Any other question? I give you the mic here.
Assalamu alaikum. The question is regarding Islamic banking. If we have excess money, we are putting in the bank as a deposit, and we are getting a return, or we are taking a loan against a home. And the minor question is, when I go home, I'm out of Pakistan 20 years, should I pay qasr or full pay?
In an Islamic bank or outside Islamic bank?
Thank
Okay.
you.
The brother is asking about Islamic banking. This is a very vast topic. However, you must understand that there is a difference between Islamic banking and conventional banking. The brother said during his question that what's the ruling on taking loans of an Islamic bank? A fact. Islamic banks don't give loans. You have to understand this to know the difference between Islamic banking. What is Islamic banking? Islamic banking is a form of transactions that allow you to get money through what is known as tawarruq, which is actually buying products. And the seller is the bank himself, and he would sell you a product that the market value is 1 KD. He will sell it to you in installments for 1.5 KD. Isn't this riba? No. See, if I have a pen, Mont Blanc, very expensive, I'm a rich man. It's a gift, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I don't buy this stuff. It's all gifts. But I'm not a man. So Abu Uthman comes and says, Sheikh, sell me your pen. I say, okay, I'll sell it to you for 3,000, for 30 KD. And one of the boys comes and says, Sheikh, can you sell me the pen? I said, yes, I'll sell it for you for 1 KD. Does he have the right to say, why are you selling it for me, or to me for 30 and selling it for him for 1? Why not be equal? He doesn't have the right because it's my pen. Inshallah, I give it to him for free. It's not even business. You want to buy? Buy. You don't want to buy? The door is open. Ma'asalama. Likewise, in installments. He said, this is my 30 KD. It's yours. He says, Wallah, I don't have money. He said, okay, I'll sell it to you over the duration of 5 years for 50 KD. And you pay in installments. Halas, okay, we sign a contract stating that I want from him only 50 KD. No matter what happens, if he defaulted, if he's delayed, if he's late, I cannot ask for more than 50 KD because this is the agreement. This is halal. Now, Islamic banking is an elastic terminology. So now anything you want it to sell, you attach to it Islamic. So we have Islamic food, Islamic banking. Now we have Islamic dancing, belly dancing. How's that? Now she's wearing hijab. We have the burkini. What is the burkini? It's a burqa plus bikini. This is new in France. So the woman wears this and goes to, and this is halal now. MashaAllah. So we have weird ideas because of ignorance, not going back to the Quran and Sunnah. Islamic banking has to follow the Islamic Sharia. What is happening nowadays is un-Islamic, meaning I can sell you my device and you buy it and you go sell it somewhere else, no problem, halal. I sell it with the price I quote. I possess it, it's like my pen. I sell it to you in any price. You agree, alhamdulillah. What's happening at the moment is that I'm the Islamic bank. A man wants money. He comes to me, he says, I need 1,000 dinars. I say, okay, I will sell you something. I will sell you air conditions. I will sell you copper in Bahrain. I will sell you giraffes in Nairobi, Kenya. He says, okay. Well, can I see it? He said, no, I don't have it at the moment. But here's the contract. Sign that you're willing to buy it for 12,000 KDs. And you will pay it over the span of 2 years. Okay, Bismillah, khalas, sealed, approved, and delivered. Then I go either to a financing company or anywhere. I have money, I'm a bank. I buy the product and I deliver it to him. He says, no, what will I do with the giraffe? I don't eat giraffe meat. What will I do with the 100 air conditioners? I will not do it. So what do we do? Nowadays what they do is as follows. He wants money, sign the contract that you bought from me 100 air conditioners, khalas, sign. Okay, signed another contract that you authorize me to sell them with a lower price. He says, okay, here you go. In 5 minutes, I put in his account the money he wanted. He did not see the product. He did not acquire it and possess it. And he did not sell it. So it's all a trick on riba. Clear and blunt riba. So this is not Islamic. Unfortunately, 90% of the banks, so-called Islamic, deal in such a fashion. Of course, there are other, this is personal loans. Now, when it comes to corporate loans, whoa, you're talking about millions. So we're talking about shares in companies or maybe in oil fields or oil tanks, and etc. Then there's tankers, there is much bigger fish to fry. And the percentage is higher and the involvement in haram is much, much bigger. So, unfortunately, a lot of the Islamic bankings are not actually Islamic. How do I verify and know? By looking into the Sharia board. Are they real scholars or not? Or they just doctor so-and-so, never heard of him. And at the end you find that he is a doctor, but a veterinarian. This is not even a medical doctor. No. And secondly, which is more importantly, that this Sharia board has a department that audits. So many fatwas are written, and they're valid fatwas from the Sharia board. But the banking transactions is not implemented. So whenever you come and buy, this is fatwa of Sheikh so-and-so, Alim so-and-so, Doctor so-and-so, good people. Okay, who's supervising you? Nobody. And you will find a lot of these transactions in Islamic sort of this. Answers your call, ask for your question. An expat either has migrated and is not coming back to live. So I am from Pakistan, I leave Lahore and I go to Canada. And I get the citizenship, I have a house, my children are living there. Every single year I go for a month to visit my family, my loved ones. And I go back to Canada. Where are you residing? Canada. Are you ever going to go and live in Lahore again? Never. This is my home, Canada. In this case, you shorten. But if an expat is here for 60 years in Kuwait, and his final goal is to go and die in his hometown, and his house is there. No. He is residing in Kuwait, he completes. He is residing in Islamabad, he completes. In the way, or on the way, he shortens and combines. But once he reaches either cities, he is a settler and he has to complete.
This is for the written question. Can a person do aqiqah of his child with a dead? Should a girl's head be shaved on the 7th day?
I'm waiting for you to start. Aqiqah is an issue of dispute among scholars whether it is mandatory or it is highly recommended, and the most authentic opinion is that it is highly recommended. It is a sunnah mu'akkada. So if a man is blessed with a boy or a girl child, the sunnah is to slaughter 2 rams, 2 sheep, 2 goats, not all 6, and eat them. Of these selection for a boy or a sheep or a ram or a goat for the girl. It is recommended. If he doesn't, there is no sin on him. However, he will not get the chance of intercession of the child on the Day of Judgment. Because the aqiqah gives the child the right to intercede for his parents. As the Prophet said, كُلُّ غُلَامٍ مَرْهُونٌ بِعَقِيقَتِهِ. As for the shaving of the head, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, أَمِيتُ عَنْهُ الْأَذَى, remove the harm or the filth from his head. So the majority of scholars say that shaving is only for the boy. I personally shave the heads of my girls as well, because the adha or the harm is mutual for boys and girls. It's not only for the newborn boy, because the same material substances on the skull of a girl is the same with the boy. So by shaving it, you free free the skull from such substances and would help the hair to grow naturally and not affect the child. But as I said, the majority say that this is only for the boys. If the father of a girl does not want to do it, he's not sinful for that, inshallah. Of course, the sunnah is to weigh the hair in silver and give it to charity. So if someone says, I'm not going to take the hair to the jeweler's shop and maybe it comes only 1-2 grams, I'm going to give one full Kuwaiti dinar sadaqah. And it's much less than this. Is it okay? Sadaqah is sadaqah.
Is it sunnah to raise the hands for dua after obligatory prayers or when the khatib makes dua during Jum'ah khutbah?
Now, in order to say yes or no, we have to have evidence from the Quran or from the Sunnah. Am I right or wrong? So if someone says, is it sunnah to raise the hands after the fard, obligatory prayer? We say, hold on, pause, and let me look into the books of Sunnah. I read the books of Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Imam Muslim, and then Sunan al-Nasa'i, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawood, Ibn Majah, Musnad al-Imam Ahmad, Muqtal Imam Malik, Musannaf Abd al-Razzaq, Musannaf Ibn Abi Shaybah, and Mustadrak al-Hakim, so. I don't find any authentic hadith that whenever the Prophet prayed for 10 years in Medina, not a single report said that when the Prophet finished the prayer, he used to raise his hand and make dua, and the congregation would say, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. Nothing. If the Prophet didn't do it, and it was not related to us, and the companions did not do it, and the Tabi'in did not do it, what do we classify this as? Bid'ah. So it's not permissible. Okay, end of story. Okay, Sheikh, what's the ruling on doing it on my own, not in congregation? We say, let's again read the books. Okay, I just read it. So did you find anywhere that the Prophet used to, every single fard, raise his hand and make dua? No. At all? No. Khalas, then you know the answer. But I found a hadith stating that the best of dua is at the middle of the night and at the end of fard prayers. So this is a valid reason for me to make dua after fard prayers. No. The hadith says, Dubur as-salawat al-maktuba. And dubur, everything is from it. So when I say the front of this bottle and the back of this bottle, it is something of the bottle itself. And we know that there is a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ who told us that after you finish offering salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, what you call durud, you choose and select whatever dua you want before salam. So the time, why are you making dua after fard prayer? What is the objective?
Thanksgiving.
You want Allah to give you something. You're making dua, you want something. No one makes dua. He said, I'm just making dua for the fun of it. No, I want you to forgive me. I want you to pay off my debts. I want you to guide my children. So you're asking something. If you want Allah to answer you, the Prophet has told you, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the closest you are to Allah when you are in sujood. The Prophet says, so ask Allah whatever you want. So the Prophet is directing me, make sujood in salat, not outside salat, like the bid'ah that people do now. We find people after fajr, after salam, after dhikr, they fall into making sujood. Hey, come, what are you doing? He said, I'm making sujood. Why? He said, I want to make dua. Haram. This is innovation. You want to make dua and sujood, do it inside the salah. Not innovate a sajda from out of the blue and say, I want to make dua. This is innovation. Also, the Prophet told us, after salutation, alayhi salatu wasalam, ask Allah whatever you want. So before salam, after I finish the durood, before I can sit for 5 minutes and make dua as much as I want. Do I raise my hands? Definitely not. You're in salah. Your hands should be on your thighs and knees. Until you finish, do I begin it with Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah? No. Because this is during sujood or during, you do not, elaborate it or open it with praising and salutation. Khalas, this is within. So I hope this answers your question.
Please.
Check. This dua within the dua within the salah, in sujood or before salam.
Is it in your own native language or in Arabic?
Sorry?
Is it in your own native language or in Arabic?
No, I'm telling that dua, praying dua within the salah, that is in sujood or before salam, that is can be done in any language or it should be in Arabic.
He knew your question before you completed it.
Not because I am genius or I know the thing. I get this question 50 times a day. And the answer is well known. It's an issue of dispute. So if you're following Hanafi madhab, if you're finding some of the madhabs, it's totally prohibited to do it other in Arabic. But this is not the most authentic opinion. The most authentic opinion, and this is the choice of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen and other scholars, is that Allah is the Lord of Arabs and non-Arabs. So if I don't know Arabic, so I'm not going to make dua. No. Scholars say, in sujood, whether fard or nafil, if you want to make dua, if you know how to make it in Arabic, you must. So for example, I want Allah to forgive me. I say, oh Allah forgive me, oh Allah forgive me. Hey, can you say Rabbi Ghafirli? I say, I know Rabbi Ghafirli. I always say, then this is not permissible. But if you want to say, oh Allah, guide my wife not to nag and to make problems for me. I don't even know how to say it in Arabic myself. In this case, no, say it in your native language. Allah Azza wa Jal accepts it and your prayer is totally valid. Of course, this goes for the girls, right? For the women. Oh Allah, make my husband trim his big belly and brush his teeth because his smell stinks. This is also valid. It goes both ways.
Okay, any other question? I have a written question. Sorry? Okay. Okay. We have a question here. A non-Muslim asked, Allah said the Quran is made easy for those to understand. Yet for non-Arabs, this have to make much effort to learn the language to understand. How should Muslims respond to this?
Allah Azza wa Jal said in various places of Surah Al-Qamar, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Allah has made it easy for those who want to get a reminder out of it and to get preaching out of it to do them. So it is easy for us Arabs. We read it, we understand it. It is easy for non-Arabs when they read the translation. It's not something like mathematics or riddles. It's clear because the translation is clear. So there is no contradiction. It is not multi-language in the sense that anyone just can hold the Quran and it's in German or it's in Romanian or it's not possible. It's in Arabic. It was revealed in Arabic. It is understood to the Arabs, but also those who do not speak the language, alhamdulillah, Allah facilitated for them the translation of the meaning. Not the translation of the Quran, the translation of the meaning, because those who translate the meaning, not the actual Quran, which cannot be translated. It is so profound and deep that it cannot be translated into exact meaning of it, but at least what cannot be attained 100%, you can attain 90% of it, inshallah.
Okay. Yes, let's give it parents because it's all. Give the mic here.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam.
I have one question regarding zakah. Some lady, she is earning the zakah for gold from the gift of the wedding, and it is her regular use gold, okay, and she doesn't have any extra income. So what is the system, or what is the if she cross the gold for more than nisab? What is the system of giving zakah? But she doesn't have any personal income. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, zakat is Allah's right over the wealth you have. So this is something that is Allah's right, which means if I have an orphan, a nephew, and his father, my brother, died, leaving him 1 million Kuwaiti dinar. He is an orphan, he's 2 years old. Do I pay zakat over this 1 million KD or not? He's not reached the age of puberty. In a different situation, if I have someone who's insane, I have a brother, a relative who inherited or who was a businessman, he has real estates and companies that's still generating $1 million per week. He is wealthy, but he got insane. He lost it. So he doesn't know who he is, he urinates on himself, he doesn't know how to eat. He's insane. Do I give zakat on it or not? The answer is that zakat is obligatory upon the wealth, not upon the individual. So the wealth is Allah's wealth. Having said that, we come to the jewels and the jewelry that a woman has. Do we pay zakat for that or not? First of all, there is no zakat on jewelry. The zakat is on gold and silver that a person possesses, whether jewelry that is stored and kept in safekeeping, or jewelry that she wears, or jewelry that she gives to others. Or a man who has gold and silver, he's got blocks and kilograms of gold, mashallah, in his house under the mattress. Does he pay zakat for that? The answer is yes. Because zakat is mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah, chapter 9, that those who hoard and keep gold and silver and do not spend it in the cause of Allah, it will be under fire in hellfire, and there will be burnt with it in their backs, in their foreheads, in their sides. And this includes anyone who possesses gold, silver, or currency that falls underneath. Dollars, dinars, dirhams, riyals, it has the same rule. Coming back to your question, do the scholars say that gold and silver of women are zakatable or not? It's an issue of dispute. Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, used to say that there is no zakat. Other companions say no, there is zakat. So it's an issue of dispute, and whenever we have a dispute, we have to go back to the Quran and to the Sunnah. And the clear directive we get from the Quran and from the Sunnah, without going into details, that it is a must to give zakat on gold or silver possessed by women, and of course, men as well. The question is, a woman who is a housewife, regardless, this dola was given to her by her father, or by her father-in-law, or by her husband, as a gift, as something bought, it doesn't matter. She possesses gold, and she does not have an income. And after 1 year, the money now is zakatable, she has to give zakat. So she looks in her pockets, there is no money. How does she pay zakat? She can go to her husband, makes a good plate of biryani and masala, and try to adorn herself, and they said, why did you give the zakat this year? And he gives it voluntarily. Alhamdulillah, this does the job. He is not liking her food, and she doesn't look that attractive to him after so many years of marriage, unfortunately, or his eyesight is not that good. So he said, no, I'm not going to give you zakat. What is she to do? We say, you sell a small portion of your gold and pay for the zakat. Because the Islamic economy revolves on this gold, and the poor are in need for income. So if each one owes a lot of gold or a little and does not give zakat, the economy is hindered. And some of the sisters, once a sister called me, and she said, I think it was on live TV, because I don't make such jokes privately. When a sister calls, it's dead serious. because this is fatwa. But if it's an open platform with others or on live TV, I may throw a joke here or there. So she said that I don't have a source of income and I can't pay zakat and so and so. She wanted me to say there's no zakat for me. So I asked her, how much gold do you have? She said 5 kilograms. I said, are you married? With 5 kilograms, that's the potential for me. Are you crazy? 5 kilograms, you're talking about almost close to a million riyals. Close to a million riyals. And you are stingy of paying zakat. This is ridiculous. No, you have to sell. Because this is Allah's right. This is the right of the poor. And Allah will put blessing in it. Now, if a woman thinks positively and says, in about 10, 15 years time, I'll be losing a lot of zakat and the gold will diminish. Yes, so what to do? Invest it. Instead of just sitting in your safe, invest it, put it in something that is halal, it grows, you get richer, you buy more gold, and you benefit the Muslim Ummah rather than being passive income. Rather than being passive with no income as well.